What's up? Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. You know what time it is, 1 o'clock on a Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. I'm joined by Jason Aponte, who has been making trips out to the West Coast, but I haven't caught you yet, man. When's the next time you're coming out here?
I'll be there for camp, so we'll link. Whether I'm credentialed to be there for camp, I'll be down the street or something like that covering it. Okay. So whatever we can link. I mean, you know what I want to do? Really, realistically, I want to pull up on one of your videos in the parking lot.
Man, I gotta have like a secret location now, otherwise
they're gonna give you
the spot. Oh man, no, okay, that's gonna be tight. I'm definitely gonna see you in August.
Yes, sir.
But let's talk about OTAs first. That's coming up, man. The first one's tomorrow, and most writers go and they write about the stuff that generates the most clicks. I'm not hating on them. I do it too. But like, what's Trey Lance look like? What's Trey Sermon look like? Stuff like that. I'm the coach's worst nightmare. I'm in there looking for scheme. I'm like, man, what are the wrinkles going to be on offense and defense? And I'm not really supposed to tell you, although we'll see by preseason, and I'll explain it to you in code over the next few months. But I like to project too. What do you think are what are you expecting to see when you get out there? Some offensive changes, tweaks, evolutions this year?
I mean, honestly, I really think it's not really going to be changes. It'll just be straight up more back to basics. I think the 49ers told you with the way that they drafted 2 running backs, they drafted 2 linemen, that they just want to get right back in the saddle of running the ball no matter who the quarterback is 35, 40 times. Good luck trying to stop it, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that they're just going to basically go right back to, that run offense that they had in 2019, very much a bunch of off of play action, but they're tipping their hand on both sides the way that they drafted defensively and they drafted offensively. So, I mean, when you see, okay, you draft your franchise quarterback, you draft 2 linemen, you draft 2 running backs, clear to me that 1, you want to protect them, 2, you want to get back to bully ball and running the ball. So, I mean, as far as offensive changes, I mean, the 49ers were very run heavy last year. I just expect that they'll be run heavier, if that makes any sense. Like, I suspect them to run the ball 35, 40 times, hands down, unless they're behind, unless they're playing catch up, which you can't do that.
Agree. I'm trying to think, like, not necessarily like new concepts in the past in the offense, but things that'll be emphasized that weren't emphasized the past 4 years. And I think I'm thinking of 2 things. And if I inspire you, let me know. But 2 things right off the bat. First of all, the play action boot game. It's been non-existent with Jimmy because he's so slow. He's so slow. Trey Lance to me is more accurate throwing on the run than he is in the pocket. And that's not a knock against him. He's just really good at throwing on the run. I think that's going to be a major feature of this offense because it was always a major feature of the Shanahan offenses until they got Jimmy.
So, I mean, I would agree with that, but then that lends itself to the idea that you think that Trey's going to start right away. Like, I think that they'll have those sort of packages that they go with him and they teach him, but I don't think that they'll implement that, like you said, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo and it's not Trey Lance. So, like, again, if he's a starter and we get some sort of tip that he's going to be the starter, then I expect a bunch of changes in that same exact way that you said, like with those bootlegs, much more designed runs, clearly, because one guy has wheels, the other guy doesn't. That's not his game, and off the play action, I could see them, instead of throwing passes, just having Trey take the ball and run the other way, with it. So, like, there'll be plenty more of that. But again, I totally have to know who the quarterback is.
Especially in the red zone. Now, let's talk about the red zone, too. I feel like even if Trey doesn't win the starting job, the play action bootleg game is going to be for him when he's a starter. But if he's not the starter right away, I still think they're going to use him. And it'll be controversial how they do it. But it seems to me like a major trend in the NFL right now is that quarterback-driven run game in the red zone. Everyone does it. You want to get to 11-on-11 football because it's so hard to run the ball otherwise in the red zone. It's just so compressed. So he could give him that. You mentioned the play action bootleg. Yeah, I mean, he could just run it off of that play. There could be all the the zone read, the draws and stuff like that. What do you think?
So I would point to how Colin Kaepernick was used when Alex Smith was a starter. Remember, there was a Jets game where they were in the red zone and they basically just ran the design run to the left. They did it against the Saints as well too, I believe, that same year. So I would point to that as more
stuff like that
of what you would see in the red zone, right?
Like not like between the tackles, but definitely quarterback design runs. Like, let's get you out on the edge.
Like, ball in the belly, read the defender, pull that thing out of there and go with it, or just straight up catch the ball and just go sweep. Like, everybody just move one way, and now this offensive line is able to do those things, get out there on the outside for somebody who's just all Trey would need is just a little bit of a crease. And in the red zone, if we're talking about the 2-3 yard line, can barrel his way and push that thing into the end zone.
It's worth it. These are touchdowns. I mean, if you remember last year, this was a part of the playbook Kyle was trying to implement.
Right.
They did the Wildcat with Jerick McKinnon and Richie James Jr.
And Richie James in 2019. You know, and that's the other thing too is those sort of plays take risk out, right? There's no interception that can be thrown when it's a design run. You know, I mean, the only risk is that you're running the risk of an injury. But you know, we understand that Kyle, you know, really likes what Trey brings as far as his decision making, right? So I mean, and we're talking about him putting him in a spot where he can't throw an interception because it's not a pass play, right? But it's a high percentage play, and it's a chance to really punch things in the red zone, because I think that's something that's been lacking because there's no red zone target, and the 49ers really settle for a lot of field goals based on their defense, and I don't think that, you know, I mean, this year their schedule is kind of conducive to winning because it was a fourth place schedule, but I think the 49ers need to start turning those field goals into touchdowns if they really want to start making games easier for them down the line.
It's an element to your offense I think you have to have in 2021. I think all the forward-thinking offensive coaches have gotten it. I mean, the Patriots have it. The Saints have it. The Niners have it. You have to have it. It's not a huge part of your offense, but when you do run that package out, it's for first downs and touchdowns, especially in the red zone. It's for touchdowns. And I think real quick to get off on a tangent, and I don't want to make this political, but the Tebow thing. A lot of people are like flipping out about Tebow, and I get it. But it seems to me that Urban Meyer wants to have this part of his offense too. And I don't know who he knows in the world, but he knows Tebow, and he's used Tebow that way at Florida. And I guess they call him a tight end, whatever they want to call him. If they have a package for Tebow, it's going to be this stuff, man. It's going to be red zone, run game stuff. He might throw a pass here and there. I don't know if he'll be any good at it. Depends what kind of shape he's in. I have a feeling he's in terrific shape. I'm not rooting against Tebow. I've always felt like he was basically a nice guy who people projected a ton of stuff onto. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, this is just how the world works, right? You know somebody who knows somebody gives you a job. You know, the problem that I have is less about, you know, the political stuff or anything like that. And definitely not about the religion either. People bring that stuff up and try to use him as some sort of martyr. Nobody wanted him out of football because he was religious. He had a 47.9% completion percentage. True. That's why you get out of the league. To have a 47.9% completion percentage, you really have to try. That's not something that's easy. Like, you have to try to have that. I think what it is more than anything is that there's tight ends out there that are younger than him, that have played the position, that are not going to get a shot, right? Somebody like Trey Burton, who's 28 years old, who's not going to get a shot with the Jacksonville Jaguars because Urban Meyer's friend is going to come in and play a position that he's never played before. First of all, what leads you to believe that Tim Tebow could be able to play tight end? He was never fast. He's not twitchy. He's not anything that you can do. So you think he can block now? You think he can run routes?
What I'm saying is, not you.
I'm just saying Urban Meyer.
I know, of course. No, I don't think they're going to play him at tight end. I think they're going to play him at tight end like the Saints play Taysom Hill at tight end. Like, you call him whatever the hell you want to call him. Maybe they don't want to call him a quarterback for whatever reason, but I think if he makes the team, I don't know if he will, but if he does, and there's a package for him, he's going to be a quarterback. He's not going to be throwing, though. He's going to be running as a quarterback.
Right. So he'll be at the tight end position. Maybe they'll line him up there. They'll run a fake reverse. They'll throw the ball to him. He'll throw one of those ducks. And
he's not going to catch a pass.
The guy's got to be wide open, though. Like, if he's throwing a pass, that guy's got to be standing there by himself.
No. What they're going to do with him is what they did with him when he was 19. Hey, man, line up in the shotgun and run straight ahead from the 3-yard line. That's what I think they're going to do. And maybe it won't work, but I feel like that's the vision, and I get it. Like, honestly, I'm not even going to knock Urban Meyer for it, because if Jim Harbaugh became a head coach tomorrow, what would the first thing he would do?
I mean, he had Kaepernick, and he used him in that same exact way. Yeah.
He would sign Colin first thing. I don't care how long he hadn't been in the league. So Urban, I guess he's loyal to his guys, and maybe it'll work. He's got a vision. I think that's
buddy system.
To bring it back to the Niners, that's going to be part of their offense this year. It's a part of every good offense. And if you want to have an efficient red zone or third down offense, it's part of it. So they got it.
I mean, honestly, those plays are money plays. Those aren't plays that you draw up and you just hope something that's going to happen. Those are plays that you're like, this is for the money.
Hey, sorry I brought Tebow into it. That's all. I should have prepared you for that. All I was trying to say is a philosophical point. It's what Urban's trying to do.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's going to succeed.
I tried to stay away from talking about him because he doesn't deserve my breath. But you know,
the tight end thing I feel like is a red herring. Like, they're not going to line him up at Y and ask him to. Like, if they do, I'd be shocked. I think it's just a way to conceal their plan for him. Their plan. CJ says Hawaiian barbecue or Chipotle. Your boy is hungry. And how does Aaron Banks look? Oh, definitely Hawaiian barbecue. Like, it's Chipotle's a last resort in California. I don't know about New Jersey, but you can always do better than Chipotle in the Bay Area. You don't need to do that to yourself.
The Mexican food that I get around here is not Chipotle. It's not any of those. It's the hole in the wall places that actually make real tacos. And
you can get that East Coast?
Yeah. There's a place in Jersey City called Taqueria downtown. Incredible tacos, man. Incredible, bro.
That's one of the main reasons I would be scared to move to the East Coast is the lack of Mexican food. I eat that at least once a week. It's fantastic.
That's all I ate when I was in Cali. Yep, I was like, I'm not having anything else but that.
Yeah, I'll tell you how Aaron Banks looks tomorrow, man. I'll see him for the first time. I expect him to look like the biggest person I've ever seen. I mean, people talked about Kinlaw looking big. This dude is way bigger. Jeremy says, can we just wait to see Lance in the pros before we say he's better than Jimmy and this and that?
Did you already say that in this episode?
I don't think either of us said that in this episode.
Oh,
I mean,
we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, but fair enough. I will for you, I will.
in the interest of that question and not jumping off the bridge, yeah, for sure.
All right, so we laid out what we think they're going to be the new wrinkles for 2021 on offense. They're going to be, because there's always new wrinkles with Kyle. He doesn't just Xerox last year's playbook, which is why we love him, which is why you're an only chance. And I think I lost a bet. I think I need to be wearing.
No. You won the bet. Justin Fields didn't go.
Okay.
So you won.
Yeah. All right. What defensive changes do you expect DeMeco Ryans and James Bettcher to implement this year?
So this is a great question because I just got asked this and it's fresh in my mind, and I'm glad you brought it up. So again, when I said, the draft picks on the offensive side have tipped their hand, the defensive side has tipped their hand much more. Ambry Thomas profiles as a man corner. 2020, they ran a whole bunch of man, a lot more quarters, and you saw it towards the end of the season, which is why Keller Weatherspoon was so successful. Yes. So they're going to be running a lot more man. Here's another thing I think they're going to start doing: blitzing from different places. That may be KK, that may be Jimmy Ward, that may be Jaquiski Tartt, but they're going to start blitzing more. You're going to start to see more pressure, I believe, from DeMeco Ryans, honestly. Robert Saleh had to do it. Robert Saleh had to do it last year in the interest of generating pass rush because of so many injuries. I think this is going to be something that's more implemented. When you heard Jaquiski Tartt talk in his press conference about, I hope they blitz me 12 times a game. Well, they did that in 2017 with Robert Saleh, and he was very successful. So I think that DeMeco Ryans is going to implement that a little bit more. What Robert Saleh did last year that I thought was masterful is you put on tape that K'Wan Williams is the blitzer. You show him at the line, and you have Jimmy Ward behind him, who usually drops in the coverage. Then you flipped it. Now you have Jimmy Ward coming, and KK dips back. That sort of stuff, you're playing with people's offensive minds when you show them stuff on film, and then you change it up. So
you make them think that you have a tendency, and now you use that against them.
Exactly.
Great.
So no more straight up cover three, and it really didn't happen a lot last year either. Yeah. But I expect a lot more blitzing, whether that's from linebackers, whether that's from safeties. They're going to show people at the offensive line, at the line, and drop them back or send them in. I just expect to see more pressure, not just relying on Bosa and whoever's on the other side to go get the quarterback. I think they're really going to try to be more aggressive in that way.
If only they'd had this defensive philosophy in the Super Bowl.
Why you got to do that, though?
Sorry. As you said it, I was like, when you said, man, they're not just going to do straight cover three anymore, I'm like, yeah, that's true. It was the last time they did that. The Super Bowl, 3rd and 15. I love Robert Saleh, but they really did learn. They had to learn the hard way, but they really did learn. They've taken this defense a whole different direction. And I like what you said. I totally agree. I think they're going further with it. They're not going back. They're going to go more pressure this year. And the thing about James Bettcher, if you look into his background, he was underneath Todd Bowles a long time ago in Arizona, and then he replaced Todd Bowles. And Todd Bowles brings a hell of a lot of pressure. And Todd Bowles is really good. I mean, as good as Robert Saleh is, that's as good as Todd Bowles is in different ways. They have different philosophies.
He was the MVP of the Super Bowl, Todd Bowles. Like, I understand it. I understand the Chiefs, offensive line was in shambles.
9 points.
But come on. I mean,
you could argue that he's better than Robert Saleh, honestly. 9 points.
Yeah,
9
honestly,
points.
So there is an argument to be made for that. And here's the thing that I will always give Robert Saleh credit for, and I always try to explain to 49ers fans. Coaches generally don't get better. They either just plateau and they are who they are. Robert Saleh's first year, people really had reservations about him. He didn't really make many adjustments, but he ascended every single year.
Good coaches get better. Good coaches get better. Bowles has been in the league a long time, and I think that's what he's got over Saleh's experience. And just because he failed as a head coach doesn't mean that he's not a defensive mind. Like, like I don't like Matt Patricia, but like I got to watch a coaching clinic with Vish of him, and that guy is evil genius when it comes to defense, honestly. Sure. So just because he failed in one aspect. Right. Just because he failed in one aspect in leading men doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's talking about on the other side. And also, I'd like to point out that Todd Bowles was booted from New Jersey. Well, yeah, the Jets, New Jersey. And they don't really have a good record of sticking with coaches who actually do things right. They stuck with Rex Ryan too long. Todd Bowles was Pete Carroll failed the Jets.
Exactly. So,
Yep.
I mean, I think Todd Bowles deserves a lot of credit, and that's a good comp, honestly, when you talk about them. Todd Bowles, for me, was the MVP of that Super Bowl. Rob, just look at how many times Patrick Mahomes had to do what he did in that game. I understand the offensive line was messed up, but they were confusing the hell out of him. He had no idea where any of the blitz was coming from in that game.
So much more pressure, much more like a Todd Bowles defense.
Straight up man, too, I think.
That's why I don't see Richard Sherman coming back. I know they keep his rumors out there, but to me, that's coming from him.
That's the part that I struggle with as well.
Anymore.
That's the part that I struggle with as well, too, right? Because, it would have to be in some sort of rotational position.
As a safety, probably.
Right, further back.
Yeah.
So he kind of did it with the Rams. He wasn't exactly in a safety spot, but he was so far away from the receiver, understanding the concept and everything. See, Sherm could get by being off because of his mind. He understands the concepts. He knows what he's looking at. But, again, if you're going to make the switch, and, again, they tip their hand. Lenoir profiles as KK Williams. He's the same sort of slot guy. They want Hufanga just in case one of the heavy hitters can't play in the box anymore. I expect to see him a little bit at linebacker as well too. And then you look, Ambry Thomas is a man guy. Jason Verrett can play man. Mosley, we don't know if he can, but again, Mosley, when he was playing well, they had an amazing pass rush with it. So again, I think that to cover up the lack of depth in the secondary, I think you're going to have to bring more pressure and get to the quarterback quicker, just to make sure that nothing on the back end happens.
Yeah, but to finish this topic up real quick, the idea of bringing new pressure and featuring different people, that was Saleh's thing to blitz K'Waun Williams. That was his ace up his sleeve. Who knows what James Betcher and D'Amico Ryans? Maybe it'll be Tart.
Right.
Maybe Jimmy Ward.
I actually expect it to be Tart. I think that Tart's going to be doing that a lot more, that they're going to play him in the box a little bit more, let him roam around. Similar to, I don't know if you guys remember last year, Tarvarius Moore against the Patriots was allowed to roam the box completely. And I had not seen that, with Tart at all. And it's not like Tart can't do it. He just wasn't asked to do it. So that's the sort of thing that kind of like, okay, I understand that Tarvarius Moore has closing speed and back speed because he can get back, but you've seen that he can be successful in there. And Tarvarius Moore is not a thumper, right? So if you have a guy in the box, you got to make sure that he can hit no matter what. So I think that's part of what they're going to be thinking.
Shanahan has been a bust. Prove me wrong. Coming out strong. Says never understand. Niner fans still trust in Kyle. He's not a good head coach. ! He rode Saleh's defense to the Super Bowl. He's Norv Turner 2.0 with the known last name. Hey, look, listen, I know it's hard to hear from OnlyShans Presidente, but look, this is what Kyle is up against if he loses again this year. No, there's a lot at stake for Kyle, but he's pretty good.
Talked about it. About it. This was the most important offseason. He has to nail this quarterback pick because it's his guy. And there are these rumors out there about him. I can't deny that. This is a results-driven business. No matter what I think about Kyle Shanahan and his play design, which, that last part about riding the Saleh's defense to the Super Bowl, don't know about that because that really didn't have much to do with them running all over Green Bay 2 straight games. That really didn't have anything to do with Minnesota, all those other games. So let's dial that back a little bit. But I do understand the concern because that is there, because it is a results-driven business. He's only had one winning year since he's been here. And then when you talk about when you talk about him starting here and him saying, okay, we're going to ride with Brian Hoyer year one. Okay, that'll fly year one, but that's a bad start because now you're behind the 8 ball. You keep having a losing season.
Right.
You had success in 2019. 2020, the team falls apart. And then now you're in a position you are where this team is expected to contend and you have the keys to the car now. So, yeah, I mean, this is, look, hurts to hear somebody else say that, but it's not like it's not true, honestly. So I'm very objective when it comes to that.
What's interesting is he's kind of in a similar spot as John Gruden. John Gruden's very respected. Not as much as Kyle anymore, but in his day he was. Yeah. He was, when he was 40, he was. And he's just not had the results for a very long time. And I still think people give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's starting to be like, man, when was the last time John Gruden won?
Can I go off on a John Gruden tangent real quick?
Please do, yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, John Gruden is like low-key a fraud in this league, because I don't know if anybody remembers the circumstances about him pushing his way out of Oakland and then going to Tampa Bay, right? And then, all right, so here's the little-known secret that nobody knows. Tony Dungy, who is a defensive mind, was the coach before. John Gruden's an offensive coach, right?
Yeah.
The little-known secret is that Tony Dungy's offense has actually performed better than John Gruden's. Yeah. That defense was all-time. John Lynch, Derek Brooks, Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Lonnie Barber, Dexter Jackson. I can keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the Super Bowl, Bill Callahan, who took over for John Gruden, never changed any of the calls. No. John Gruden's literally sitting there Here's the call. Here's what they're going to do. Rich Gannon was the MVP that year.
Right.
That offense was running through everybody.
Yeah.
And he wins a Super Bowl on that. And that's where everybody gets this narrative that John Gruden's a good coach. Never done anything ever again. Now, you have to remember all those circumstances when it comes to that. I knew that John Gruden thing was going to be a bust as soon as he went to the Raiders. Never thought he was a good coach. And then when you see 7 years, $100 million, Raiders going to Raider, and they'll never be good ever again. And you're like,
here's
hey,
the
you don't
thing,
have to worry
man.
about that.
If Al Davis were alive right now, he'd be like, Mark, I told you. I was right to trade this dude. And he was right to trade him. Only thing was Bill Callahan probably should have changed up his calls a little bit. Al should have called him in.
Also, let's also be fair, right? Remember, John Gruden lost in the Tuck Rule game. They would have won that Super Bowl hands down if they make it. Hands down, that Raiders team would have done it. But hey,
that's true.
That's how it goes.
Parker Reno 97 says Sherman playing safety is stupid. He can't play man coverage very well and playing free safety and cover 3. Well, here's the thing. They don't really play that much single high anymore.
No.
They're more of a split safety defense now.
Yep.
It's more of a split safety league. Tampa just won a Super Bowl that way.
Right, and it's almost positionless because you'll see Tart line up at free safety. You'll see Jimmy over at strong safety, and that just speaks to their versatility. So, I mean, it's not position-based. Like, it's not, oh, my God, Ward is the free safety, and oh, my God, the strong safety is Tart. So it's really different, but they do run a lot of too high.
Thank you, Adrian. Joshua, real quick, then we'll get back to our show. Niners should look at Malik Hooker for safety depth. Put him on an incentive and injury-based contract. We have a topic.
What happened to Tony Jefferson?
What happened to Tony? Well, why don't we just do it right then? I mean, there's no rule. We make the rules. And for you, let's jump this. One more move the Niners should make in this offseason. Joshua would like them to get Malik Hooker. I'm just going to say with this one, enough with the injury players, man. Let some other team give him a shot. I think the Niners need to look for some people who have demonstrated the ability to stay on the field. That's good for them. They lack that. That's all I'm saying.
So, I mean, when it comes to safety, they've got 4 guys that have played and you're familiar with. Ward, Tart, Harris, and Moore. Okay?
Yeah.
Hufanga is also a safety as well. I mean, he can profile as a linebacker, so they're good. I think they're set as safety, right? I think I'm more concerned about cornerback more than anything. Because if Jason Verrett goes down.
I'm right there with you.
If Jason Verrett goes down, good gosh, man. Casey Hayward's gone. All those other guys that were there are gone. I'm going to tell you the one move that I think they should make, and I think it's on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
Well, wide receiver 3 is a glaring need right now.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me that Jalen Hurd is going to be something that you're depending on. I don't know if you can do that. And and look, for me, is it in the range of outcomes that he could be the wide receiver 3? Sure. How likely is it? Not high, in my opinion. 3 names that I want you to keep in mind that you can have on the open market. One of them is not exactly open, and I'll end with him. Golden Tate's out there, profiles perfectly to sit there and play at slot. He can block. He'll have a chance to contend. Hates Jalen Ramsey. D.D. Westbrook is out there as well, off of ACL, 27 years old, perfect slot wide receiver. Here's the one that I really want, but I need a domino to fall before that happens. The Jets just drafted Elijah Moore to play slot. They have Denzel Mims on the outside, and they have Corey Davis on the outside. If Jamison Crowder gets cut, I would love to see Jamison Crowder as the wide receiver 3, one of the most underrated slot receivers in this game, still has wiggle, and still is only 27. I know it feels like he's been in the league forever, and he's an old man. He's 27. He's not even that old. So the only problem is ready? Injuries. But 2 years ago, he played 16. This year, he played 12. So he's somebody who could be reliable. Exactly. He's somebody who can be reliable, right? And again, when you talk about depth as well, at wide receiver 3, it's cool to think that Jalen Hurd's going to do something. It's cool to think that, I love Austin Watkins, and I think that he has a real shot to contribute. I really, really think that highly of him. But tell me what I know and tell me what I can predict. And what I know is that one of those 3 guys can stick in, plug and play, and be stable right from day one. And that adds a different element to the offense, regardless of who the quarterback is. So, I mean, I think we're good at safety. I think we need to address cornerback. But I think that as a wide receiver 3, one of those 3 guys would be great. But I would really love to see Jamison Crowder be there as the wide receiver 3 if he somehow becomes free.
I don't know why, but I feel like Kyle Shanahan really is expecting something from Travis Benjamin. I don't know. I just get that feeling, and I base it on nothing.
I just like that. I'll tell you why. That's another one of those things that sometimes I give Coach crap about, like Tom Compton, coaches guys. He's a coach.
Man.
He's
like
a coach's
you've known
guy.
him for 6 years, so what? Yeah, okay.
He's a coach's guy. That's my thing more than anything.
Yeah,
and I get that he offers, punt return, kick return, all that stuff.
No, he's just your buddy. You know him.
Yeah, no. He opted
He's like
out last year, and you kept him on the roster.
That's why I'm saying I feel like he's there for some reason. Anyway, I got a name. I'm going back to cornerback because look, Ambry Thomas is promising, but just like you said with Jalen Hurd, I mean, not that he has an injury issue, but you've never seen this guy on an NFL field. You've never seen him
last year.
Exactly. So he might be a project. He might be someone that you feel more comfortable playing in 2022. Who is the ace backup? It's not Richard Sherman. I mean, the best guy I could think of is Steven Nelson.
Oh my God, why is he not signed?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's been a starter for years. He's 28. He's not, I mean, maybe he's not the best starter in the world, but they wouldn't be signing him to start. He'd be your starting caliber backup
that can come in.
Yeah, I mean, how about Steven Nelson? That should have happened yesterday.
Honestly, a lot of Pittsburgh fans didn't understand that cutting. They just did not understand that, and I didn't either because I thought he played super well. Remember, that Steelers defense, and I get it, they have an amazing pass rush, but that Steelers defense on the back end was really, really amazing, honestly. And I didn't understand that one. It was a salary cap thing, but he's still not signed. And that's a great call, honestly.
Okay. So we gave you some names. Niners, you owe us a nickel for that. 2. Nickel. Joel says, Iggy, this donation is for your dad. I love the young man. Cone Zone is the best of the whole week. Greet him so well from me. Love from Sweden. Absolutely. Thank you. That was very sweet. Appreciate it. Adrian says, Jason, where'd you get that hat from?
Prevail.com. That's where they have it. I just don't know if it's still in stock. Everybody always asks usually when I get it. But here's what's cool about it. It's got like a candlestick last year patch on it and an upside down Niners logo on it. So that's what kind of makes it cool. But yeah, Prevail.com. They're not paying me to wear it. So, they should send me a nickel.
When he first came on the stream, I was looking at it. I thought I was drunk. I was like, man, there's something. No, it looks fine. It looks fine. No, wait. No, something's wrong.
I'm not looking at the comments, but I'm sure there's people in the comments like, what a stupid hat. What a jerk Jason is.
No, that's a tight hat. I like that hat. All right, let's talk about what everyone wants to talk about. Special teams. I like talking about special teams. Yeah, Travis Benjamin. So Trent Taylor's gone. Richie James Jr. kind of got demoted last year, but he could be the guy. Who do you think will be returning punts for the 49ers this season?
I think it'll be to start Richie. It'll be Richie James to start just because they trust him. But honestly, Ambry Thomas is really a good kick returner. I mean, he had a 90-yard punt return in 2019. That's something that he offers outside of being a cornerback. And I think that's not something that they glossed over when they drafted him. I think that was something that also drew him to him. Not only the fact that he can lock up man-to-man, but he can actually return punts. So, I'll say Richie James just because that's what's in front of me right now. But that Travis Benjamin thing is really bothering me because it's absolutely true. Like I said, he opted out and coach is like, yeah, keep him on the roster. But Ambry Thomas
need him.
Right. I just oh my goodness. But Ambry Thomas is actually somebody who can do that. And I would like to see him get a shot maybe in preseason. If he electrifies a little bit, let's say he gets a nice little punt return, or maybe, that's the problem, right? People dismiss punt returning, right? But a good punt returner can flip fields for you, put you in advantageous situations. So I think that's something the 49ers have been
first downs.
Right.
Hidden yardage. It makes life easier on your offense. And I don't understand why Kyle's so scary about it. It's like, stop telling River Craycraft to call for a fair catch with no one around him. I think it's going to be River Craycraft. I think it's going to be River Craycraft. I think Kyle hasn't changed, man.
He's not going anywhere either.
I know, man. They like River Craycraft. They like Travis Benjamin. And I think they're going to let River Craycraft. I just don't think they trust Richie James Jr. He had that fumble against New Orleans, was it? Something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. They just don't trust
I pushed that game out of my mind, honestly.
I know.
The game should have been a 49ers win. They blew that game with so many missed throws, interceptions. I mean, fumbles. Just like, ugh.
I feel like Richie James they've lost confidence in him as a returner, and they're going to give River Craycraft a chance. Now, I want to flip the question. Who should return punts next season?
I want Ambry Thomas to get his shot. That's it. That's why I'm caping for him, honestly. Like I said, you watch that 90-yard kick return against Michigan. Jim Harbaugh even used him like with sweeps and on offense. Like that's how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands. So that's my thing, honestly. So that's another thing that you need to pay attention to. So I really wanted to beat Ambry Thomas.
That's cool. It should be Brandon Ayuk, though. It should be Brandon Ayuk.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
No, you're right.
He's the best athlete on the team.
He is, but he can't get hurt. Can't get hurt. Cannot get hurt. Can't get him hurt. Cannot get him hurt.
He's more likely to get hurt playing wide receiver than return.
Probably. But I'm going to stick to my narrative, and I'm just going to run with what I just said and keep it there. But you're right about that. Absolutely. But
Tyler Lockett did it for like 5 years.
He did.
Really
but
Antonio Brown used to do it.
Also, Seattle's not that smart. And yes, Antonio Brown did do it. Antonio Brown did do it. So you're right about that.
I'm just saying. Brandon Ayuk might be the best punt returner in the league if he had the chance. I mean, he averaged 16 yards per punt return in college. He's super explosive. I'd like to see it. He got 2 chances last year and averaged 13 yards per return. I think he's athletic enough to protect himself on a punt return.
Good call.
I'd like to see. Come on, stop. Come on.
Nah,
give
good
him
call,
a
good
chance.
call.
But if he does
Good
get
call.
hurt, I'm gonna delete this video and be like, I never said that was your decision. That was a mistake. All right, same question for kickoffs. Who do you think we should return the kickoffs? Now it's not as important anymore because half of them just, or more than half of them, just
They're out of the end zone.
But last year, like the returner was Jerick McKinnon, so someone's got to replace him.
I mean, I think that you're right that it kind of doesn't really matter with the kickoffs because they've taken the kickoffs completely out of the game, moving it up. They don't want any sort of, and the worst part is those are some of the most exciting plays, right? Like if you didn't have the kickoff, would Devin Hester have returned the first play in the Super Bowl? Like that was
Cordell Patterson anytime.
Right. Oh man, yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have had him, but he signed with Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that this is a little bit less important when it comes to things like that. It'll probably be a hodgepodge of Richie James, Austin Walter's not there anymore. He just got cut. Maybe one of the running backs, something like that. Honestly,
maybe Embry.
Yeah, maybe Embry. He'll just be able to like catch the ball and maybe just kneel or just let it go out the back of the end zone. But honestly, kickoffs are less important now because they moved it up and they just end up either through the uprights or out the back of the end zone.
Yeah. I got a name, and you're not going to see this one coming. It's going to surprise you.
Javon Kinlaw.
Brandon Ayuk.
No.
Brandon Ayuk should return the kicks. Come on. Why? It's football, man. He averaged 30 yards per kick return in college, and he didn't return one for a touchdown. He was just breaking off chunk yardage, man. Oh, man. It's too.
You're not wrong.
I feel like we're being deprived of watching. This guy should have the ball in his hands as much as possible.
You're not wrong. I'm just playing scaredy cat with that. Like I just look
again.
The Niners. How is my prediction of him being the leading receiver on this team going to be fine if he gets injured on a punt return or a kickoff return or something like that?
This dude should have 2,000 yards all-purpose at some point in his career.
You're right.
At some point in his career.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for putting up with that.
No, you're good. Right. You're good. That's a good topic.
Samson Ebukam is a player that really interests me. We don't know how they're going to use him. We don't know D'Amico Ryan's tendencies. We don't know his vision for Samson Ebukam. We'll find out, I think, a little bit in camp. What do you think? Is he just here to rush the quarterback? What are they going to do with him?
I don't think he is. I mean, I think he can rush the quarterback. He's very fast, and you saw him. He jumped off the screen in that Rams-Chiefs game. Remember the 54 to like 52 game that a few years back, and I think it was like 2018. He had a bunch of amazing plays. He actually scored a touchdown on a fumble recovery in that game. But what I really like about him is that you can show him at the line in the same way that I was just talking about showing somebody at the line and thinking that you're going to blitz. He can drop back into coverage, so he can give you both of those things. What I assume is that he's insurance for if D Ford cannot go ever.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So you bring him in, maybe on third down, rush the passer, but you can also have him on base downs and just have him, show and then drop back and go cover somebody. Again, it gives you ultimate flexibility because Ebukam is good enough to do both those things. And that's what's good about this. Again, positionless football doesn't just exist on the offensive side for the 49ers. It exists on the defensive side, right? So a guy could be shown as an edge, but he'll be wound up going into coverage.
And there's a possibility that D Ford will be able to contribute 10 to 15 snaps a game if he doesn't practice at all. Who knows?
On third down. That's it. Like I don't think you need him on first and second down. You need him on the money down, especially if it's an obvious passing situation. Bring him in on a money down and let him work. See, that's the thing that the 49ers messed up that the Chiefs did right. The Chiefs the Chiefs did two things right. One, they never practiced him and they just got him ready for the game, because that was something out of college that everybody knew about his back. But two, they got rid of him at the right time for the right price, but honestly, that's what the 49ers messed up, right?
Don't practice him.
Right. I understand all gas, no brakes. I understand you want to hold everybody to everything, but come on, man, when you give a second round pick for somebody and you see how damaging he can be on the field when he's right across from Nick Bosa, just get him ready for the game. Heat him up for the game and get him ready and just let him work on the side during practice. I think that's where the mistake came in.
So what I'm saying is, let's say they do that and he can bring it and he gets 15 snaps a game. Then Samson Ebukam's third down edge rusher role isn't there. They're still going to use him. And I think what's interesting about him is the Niners have a clear weakness on their defense, a clear Achilles heel. What is it?
Mobile quarterbacks.
Every time. They never really had a solution for it. And what I've noticed, it's obvious with Samson Ebukam is the dude is super fast. He runs a 4.5. I mean, he's one of these guys. What?
They miss Quan.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
as much as everybody wants to say, hey, Quan misses tackles and everything, like Quan, like sideline to sideline, still was always in position, and that's the thing. They're missing that now. But go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And now this is a guy who kind of replaces that athleticism, and you could actually put him as a quarterback spy. He could run with Russell Wilson. He could, well, no one can really run with Kyler Murray, but he could come pretty close. And I think if you go back and look, the Rams always did a good job defending the quarterback run game against Seattle and Arizona. So I think this is a new weapon that the Niners can use, because I don't think they really had someone who could chase Kyler Murray on this defense. I mean,
the 49ers never really put a spy on Kyler Murray or anything like that. And that's one thing that I always used to. But
who can spy him? You could put a spy on him, but if he can't run with him, what's the point?
And my thing is that there was never any adjustments made. It was always that same scrape exchange that was completely being missed every time. And it was just like, that was the problem that I had. Look, I just praised Salah and everything, but that was my problem. I was just like, come on, man, you got to try something else, man. When Carson Wentz is ripping off RPO touchdowns on you, that's and true. The defense is looking around, like, you've got to change things up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, a lot of it was on Salah, and a lot they can clean that up. But I do think that they brought in Ebukam not just with the intention to rush him, have him have to be a pass rusher, because he's not. That's not all he does.
No,
the idea he's versatile and he's really fast. He can cover, he can spy, and he's relentless. I mean, he's very, very fast late in the down. So he's going to be a big part of this offense. He might play linebacker for him. Who knows? If they go base defense, he could just be an outside linebacker. What do you think the Niners' biggest question mark is heading into the season?
Quarterback?
Yeah, right. There's a few. So let's say, how about top three? Quarterback, obviously, just because they don't have one. They're not settled on one.
Or we just don't know what's going to happen, or if said quarterback is going to stay healthy, or if said quarterback is going to play well. We don't know. I would say secondary, but I'm just talking about cornerback, straight up cornerback, not safety. We talked about that. Linebacker depth a little bit kind of scares me. I love Dre Greenlaw, but Dre Greenlaw gets a lot of hype, and he's good. But when people are like, "Oh, him and Warner are the best duo," let's dial it back a little bit. Levante David and White and those guys, they exist. You still,
I think there's some big question marks. So real quick, big ones, injuries.
Yeah, injuries every year.
This team especially, because all the good players have injury histories except for Mike McGlinchey. So and then also I think D'Amico. I'm not saying he's not good. He's just a question mark for sure.
So there will be growing pains, no doubt. And 49er fans, I need you to chill out on him a little bit, because if you expect him to just pick up where Salah left off, no way. No way.
That's unrealistic.
I understand experience in the scheme. He played football. That helps. But being in the game and making correct play calls at the right time, that takes time. So I want to make sure that 49er fans are patient, because there will be growing pains. There'll be times where you're going to say, what is he doing? What's going on here? But he can learn from that. If Robert Saleh can learn, he can learn. They had confidence in him. And the 49ers, their farm is filled with coaches who are ready to take other people's positions. They groom them to do those things. But there will be growing pains with D'Amico Ryans, no doubt.
We saw those with Robert Saleh. We saw him improve. I mean, he improved dramatically.
That's what I mean.
Most people thought he was trash 2 years ago.
Think about what people were saying about Saleh the first year. They wanted him fired. He's the worst. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. But again, he didn't take his ball and go home, and he got better. And again, that's what I said about that doesn't happen all the time.
And what was the critique with Saleh? It's like, hey, man, you got
adjustments.
Where are your adjustments? You got a nice little system, man. But where are your in-game adjustments? Because we know that you can Xerox Pete Carroll, Dan Quinn, whoever, Gus Bradley's. Yeah, whatever. You Xerox someone else's system. What is your in-game adjustment? How do you think on your feet? Well, he proved that he could do that.
Yep.
I'm not saying D'Amico can't, but to expect that he's going to have the in-game adjustment that wins the game week 1, week 2, week 3. Saleh didn't. Remember, Saleh, some of his worst performances were against Green Bay early on. I mean, they should have beat Green Bay with CJ Beathard, and they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
They gave away some games.
That offense was humming in that game, even with CJ Beathard. Like, he hit that long pass to Marquise Goodwin, and what was it? Breida was killing them in that game, man.
That's right. So D'Amico, the reason I picked the Packers to win week 3 is because of D'Amico. Not because I think he's bad. It's just because
who's the quarterback?
That's the thing. If it's Jordan Love, then D'Amico's off the hook. But week 3 against Aaron Rodgers, hey, welcome to the NFL, D'Amico.
What if it's Blake Bortles?
then D'Amico's really in trouble, man. He's really in trouble. Shout out Josh Johnson, guys, an inspiration to us middle-aged grinders that wish we had another shot. I always respect dudes who are fringe professional athletes that just keep staying in shape, keep grinding. Like, why would you give up? Dude's 35. Hey, man, I can go play on someone's practice squad. I'd love to do that.
And if someone's going to pay you, why are you going to say no to that?
Absolutely. But it's not like you get a grip of cash playing on practice squad. Like, you really, really got to love football. And not, in ways that maybe
sit at home, wait for the call.
I'm there. The dude who used to be that way was, oh man, what was that dude's name?
Dante Johnson?
No, oh man, the white quarterback who went to UCLA with me and then was on the Niners like 8 different times, but was never on their active roster, was always on their practice squad. He bounced around the league. What the hell was that dude's name? I liked him. He went to he's from San Francisco, went to Balboa High. He always had that beard. Man, I used to talk to him in the locker room all the time. If you guys remember, had a funny name. He went to UCLA. He went to Sac State. Super strong arm.
This one's out of my range.
Super strong arm. Now he never was on the active roster, but they always brought him back. Dude. Anyway, you guys let me know. It's not Tolzien. Anyway, someone will remember it. Anyway, all right. The most improved position group on this team through this stage of free agency, in your opinion? Right. Bethel Thompson. McLeod. That dude had a cannon, and he was always like chilling wherever he grew up, waiting for the call. And he's like, "Oh, you need a practice squad guy? I'm there. Let's go." Love that dude. Anyway, sorry. Who is the most improved? What is the most improved? What is the most improved position group on the 49ers right now?
Running back.
Ooh.
I mean, you bring in Trey Sermon, you bring in Elijah Mitchell, you bring in Wayne Gallman. Austin Walter didn't really have a spot here. Right now, with Raheem Mostert and Wilson not being under contract, also having injury concerns, you have insulated this room with, just in case, God forbid, the worst happens. Now you have guys that can continue to perform for you. And I think that's where it's at, because with wide receiver, they largely stayed the same. Tight end, they didn't really add much. Probably the only other place that I would say that they improved the most is offensive line. Honestly,
that was my answer. That was where I was going to go. So I felt like they were good at running back. That's a really good answer. I mean, it's basically one of 3 things: DB, O-line, or running back, because that's where they made their big push. I just felt like the O-line was such a disaster. And at least you got Alex Mack, who provides, if nothing else, leadership. Yep. And then Aaron Banks, who, from what I've seen, is a stud. So I like it. Yeah, and then Jalen Moore on top of that, just for good measure. Loved it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I'm going to say running back is just because for those things that I outlined about, when Mostert and Wilson were out, now Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, all those guys now, again, everybody likes Joe. Yeah, Gallman too. I mean, Gallman might be the guy that I think is a little bit, might be the odd man out just because his contract isn't guaranteed. But
they got numbers. They got numbers.
They do, and they have solid.
And what if Sermon gets hurt in training camp? Well, they got Gallman. Yeah.
There's solid guys that can come in and play right away. And I think and I think that what Kyle has shown is that he can make, he can make apple juice out of lemons or whatever it is. Like, I'm just trying to tell you, like, any running back pretty much is going to be fine in this scheme, no matter what. But
Kyle can make apple juice out of lemons. They should give him another extension right there. I mean, that's impressive. Jesus never did that.
Wait, water to wine? That's not impressive? Come on.
It's just a different thing. I don't know. It might be harder. I don't know. Matt says, say we roll in 11-3 and Jimmy's balling. Would you treat that Thursday night football game versus 10 like a 4th preseason game? Start 2s, maybe a chance to start Lance. That's a real interesting question.
Nope.
It's what Kansas City did with Mahomes. They gave him 1 start that year because Alex Smith was balling.
That was week 17 when the season was done. They were set. In this place, if you give away a game and you lose some sort of seeding, no. And also,
even though it does seem like a scheduled loss, you can't treat it that way.
No, and the other thing is the most important part about getting into the postseason is rolling into the postseason. True. You cannot mess around with whatever's going on. If Jimmy's balling, then let Jimmy go into Tennessee and ball out. Then
that's right.
That's the way I look at it.
Good question, Matt. All right.
Yeah.
So we did the Niners' most improved position group. What is the Niners' weakest position group right now? It's a strong team.
I keep saying it. It's cornerback. It's cornerback, honestly. If I love Jason Verrett, I'm so happy he's back. But if last year was the exception and not the rule, now you're looking at starting Mosley and Ambry Thomas, Tim Harris, Webster, Dante Johnson. Where's Brian Allen when you need him?
They might have to call him up.
Right, like it gets scary at cornerback.
Yeah.
That's why I've been trying to implore them to. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't listen to me. Oh no, wait a minute. Actually, matter of fact,
they're listening right now.
Well, that one, and we made them not take Mac Jones because
that was absolutely us.
That was us, right? Michael Lombardi said it was us. So cool. So
thank you. It was us.
It was us.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
But if they don't listen to us, right? But like that's why I was imploring AJ Boye, Casey Hayward, even Steven Nelson, somebody. You need bodies. You need bodies that you can rely on. And if God forbid anything happens to Jason Verrett, this position group goes in the tank. I love Emmanuel Mosley. I think he's solid as hell. But as a starting number one corner, you saw what happened when he had to cover Devontae Adams a bunch of times. You saw what, you saw what happened when DK gets his hands on him sometimes, man. He's a solid corner, but he's not a number one. And that's the thing is you're depending on Jason Verrett to stay healthy. And I hope he can. I really do. But if he doesn't, then you are in a bad spot at corner.
And if he gets hurt and you have no backup plan, you can't pretend like you're surprised. Oh my God, Jason Verrett got hurt. Who could plan? Who could have seen this happen? We got in a bad spot. Our number one corner got hurt and we just didn't see it coming. No, you can't. And I think that's why Richard Sherman's name stays out there, why the rumor keeps persisting. It's obvious the Niners need another corner. Yeah, he's looking at it like, well, I mean, you need me, man. You need someone. Why doesn't it should be me? You know me, blah, blah, blah.
So look, let me play devil's advocate on the Richard Sherman thing, right? Sure. Yes, he can't play man. You guys are right about that, 100%. But two things that he offers, not only just mentorship towards the cornerback. I want him to sit in the room with Trey Lance when he's watching film and show him what the defense is doing. Tell him and use your smarts to help the rook also. I would love that. I would love for Richard Sherman to take time out of his day if he can and sit with Trey and talk to him about what he's looking at because he's still one of the smartest players in the league. Is that worth bringing him in on a contract? No. But if he's brought in on the contract, that's what I want him to do also.
I got the perfect spot for Richard Sherman. Right next to me in the quality control booth, man. Come on. We really don't need you, Richard. We're doing great, but I think you can learn, and I think it'd be a good opportunity for you. So why not? Come on, quality control.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Does Richard Sherman outdo you in that room because his voice is so impactful, his voice is so loud? People, so if you and Richard Sherman get in,
it'll be a good match. It'll be a good match.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Me too, honestly. I really would. I would like to see who's bouncing ideas off who's the alpha, who's the beta. What are we doing here with this?
It'd be hard to out-alpha Richard Sherman. But
I was going to say.
I can do my best. Raymond says, next episode request, find the post-June 1st extra free agency players that may be available because of cap issues, specifically DB. Hey, Raymond, I promise next week. Are we doing this next week? Are you free next week? Or did you tell me you can't do this next week?
I'm getting my shot on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so in 2 weeks.
So I don't know. Let's see. If I wake up Thursday and you know what, I can have I could put up my Jordan Flu game right here on your show.
Take it now.
I don't know, man. What am I sleeping for? Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. My daughter's not going to say, "Hey, Dad, you got your vaccine. I'm good." Like don't give me.
I gotta say, it knocked me out for 3 hours. I was tired.
Yeah. All right. So
you just go sleep.
The second one, right?
The second one. Hey, you feel it coming, don't fight it. Go to sleep. Don't go on my show for that. You know what I'm saying?
Flu game incoming.
No, I did go on your channel one time when I was half asleep. So you might.
Look, the way that I'll make it happen is I'm gonna wear my flu game 12s and I'm gonna make sure that I thug it out and I just go for it. Like we're just gonna run through it like it's a jazz.
Dope. All right. If there is a trap game in this schedule, what is it? Because to me, this schedule is easy. Easy.
People don't want to hear this one. And this isn't, I'm not going to take credit for this because we just talked about it on the Sprint Right Option podcast with Andrew Pasquini. Shameless plug. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, I was not expecting that. But now that they got Tim Tebow and we know how they're going to use him, I can see it.
You think you just have to keep doing that.
I'm sorry.
So look, let's break it down. Let's break it down schematically.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence, Etienne, James Robinson, DJ Chark, Marvin Jones Jr. Now, yeah, you didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
So that feels like a game that the 49ers, I feel like 49er fans, including myself, are just going to be like, yeah, we're about to walk all over them. But I think that the game before it is like a quick turnaround from Sunday Night Football. Yeah, right.
Yes.
So it's a quick turnaround from Seattle straight to
Jacksonville. It's like is it the 3rd or 4th 10 a.m. start of the season for them?
Yes, it's a 1 a.m. It's in Jacksonville.
It's tough, yeah.
When you factor in all those things, that's one of those games that, all right, they may not straight up outright lose, but if that game ends up being 19-16, 21-17, 24-21, and you have to sweat that game out, it'll be because of those reasons that we just talked about, less about what they have on the offensive side, but more about them having the emotional highs and lows of that Seattle game on Sunday Night Football in Seattle, and then taking that plane straight from there all the way to Jacksonville and trying to do it all over again while shaping their bodies. That's the game that I worry about the most.
That's a great call. That's a really good. I wasn't thinking about that one. I got a different one. Atlanta at home late in the year. This was a trap game that they fell into the trap 2 years ago. And I like, Atlanta always has a bad defense, always. So it's hard to take them seriously as a contender. But they have Matt Ryan, who I think is underrated. I think he's, if not tier 1, like tier 2 for sure.
And your number 3 pick.
Yeah. Let's just list their weapons. Running back, they got Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson, but who cares?
And Xavier Hawkins,
Yeah. At receiver, they got Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and Hayden Hurst.
And Russell Gage. They got weapons, man. And Arthur Smith dialing the plays. That's the other thing, too. Is Arthur Smith's
bigger point. Yeah.
Right. Arthur Smith's offense from Tennessee, the reason that everybody loves Tannehill is just it's run, and he's so efficient off play action. Now, Matt Ryan, who I think you and I can both agree is probably a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill with better weapons. You know, I understand A.J. Brown's over there, but across the board, they've got better weapons, and they always play the 49ers tough. I agree with you 100% on that one. That one kind of scares me as well.
I mean, I'm picking the Niners to beat Jacksonville and Atlanta, but if they're going to drop a game, they should win. Those are two I'm looking at. Definitely. I mean, Atlanta late in the season, they're going to be, I think the next game is Tennessee on a Thursday night on the road. Easy to look past Atlanta and be like, oh, we got to go across the country on a Thursday night game, play Tennessee. Boom, you lose to Atlanta. Now you're in a tough spot. So
now you got to win in Tennessee.
Now you got to win in Tennessee. So Atlanta's a tough. Jacksonville's good. Jeremy says, Grant, if Jimmy balls like a madman this year, will you secretly still want to see Lance play?
Will you or the fans? You? Yeah, of course you will. You will.
I think we're all. I think the two of us have seen enough of Jimmy Garoppolo play football, man.
No.
I've seen a lot of Jimmy, man.
Don't let me.
Don't let me in there. I'm not ready for that.
If he's playing well, then cool, ride with it or whatever. But you know, I could foresee a Grant Cohn article saying, "Yeah, Jimmy's playing well, but let's see the kid. Let's see the rook already."
I'm tired of Jimmy, man. I mean, he doesn't do anything fun to watch. He doesn't move. He doesn't throw down the field. He is not particularly smart on the field. He's just so mid, man. He's the ultimate mid quarterback.
He's mid. I love that.
Super mid. All right. Ryan says he's Reggie on rundown.
That's not mid. Reggie's not mid.
He's Bammer. He's Bammer, man. Okay. On rundowns, line Bosa, Hurst, Kinlaw, Armstead. Hurst, yeah.
Yeah, you forgot about him. Mo Hurst.
Yeah, it's true. What's gonna happen with Givens too? I mean, he got in the fight, but
I think he'll be fine.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
But I think it's just again having a rotation. You know, again, just getting fresh legs in there. I think that's really what it is with Kasirk and what they're gonna try to do there. So it's just as many people as they can that'll get there in the line that's gonna rush the quarterback.
Then he's saying linebackers Warner Ebukam. Do you think they would play Ebukam as an off-ball linebacker? They don't think so. Do that with him in LA.
No,
he was like an on-ball outside edge dude.
Nah, I mean, and here's the thing, right? And then this is what's going to be interesting with what D'Amico does. Is he going to run 2 linebackers, 3 linebackers? Is he going to run more in the secondary? Right. Is he going to run 2? So I you know, if you got to set your watch to anything, then it's Warner and Greenlaw at this point. So I mean, that's the thing.
Ryan, these are really good questions. These are things that we need to be looking for in OTAs because we take them for granted. We know the defense. No, Saul is gone. We got a new coordinator. He's going to have his own combinations of players. I'll report back.
Right, like, and who's to say that the 49ers won't run like 3-4-4, like, you know, like, or you know, or 4-3-4, you know, like, depending on what they want to do as far as at each level. So, I mean, I think that's what's going to be really interesting to see, and that's why I'm talking about, like, you've got to give D'Amico Ryans time because he's gonna try to implement pieces of what the 49ers did, but I think it's going to be a whole new spin, and I think that's what we have to keep our eyes on.
No question. Man, I love that. Can't wait. All right, OTA start next week. They start the 24th. We get to see 1 day of rookie minicamp. They have 3. I get to see 1, which is weak.
So, what day are you going?
Tomorrow. I mean, it's too bad. I mean, to me, if I were the PR director, I'd be thinking, look, I don't want the reporters to see 1 day and it's the first day. Because what if Trey Lance sucks? And then everyone says, oh, Trey Lance sucks. Well, no. What if he was really bad on the first day of camp and then he improves tremendously? That's the story. The story is that the dude made crazy strides over 2 days, but that's not going to get out there because we only saw a snapshot from day one. He's allowed to suck on day one. I just don't think they thought it through. Now, I'm not expecting him to suck on day one. No. I'm just saying, what if he does, plays great the next 2 days? That should be the story.
Yeah.
Should be the story. Anyway, we'll see it in OTAs. What are the expectations?
I expect a lot of good talk about Trey, and again, I don't know how true this is. I don't know how it is with the beat writers. I've heard rumblings of like, you guys can't report on every single player truthfully, or like you have to stop talking about players.
Do whatever the hell I want to do.
Not you.
If you want to play ball with the 49ers, then you honor their requests. If you don't, right. You don't. You can't break rules. But that's different. There's a difference between a rule and a request. Okay. They'll say, hey, please don't. Hey, man, I don't work for you. Okay. Or I do work for you, and I want, we'll do a little. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's up to you if you want to do work that way. I don't do that.
Okay. I mean, honestly, realistically, I don't really see too many bad things coming out about Trey Lance because, like you said, the beat reporters are gonna play ball, and they're not gonna, if that comes out, then immediately the general public's gonna start like trying to jump off a bridge as if that's like already like this telling sign that Trey Lance isn't gonna work out. That's the thing that I get scared of is like any sort of one bad report. People are just going to start to freak out as opposed to watching him play in games or watching him progress over OTAs and things like that.
If there's a bad report, it's national news on the NFL Network.
Right. That's what I mean. And then what happens? Well, Kyle, you picked him. Well, it was one day.
Right.
Like, remember, day. So think about this. Remember that day that Jimmy Garoppolo threw 5 interceptions in practice?
Yeah.
That's all anybody ever talked about. And then he went up there and it was for days like that. Now imagine all the pressure on a number 3 pick and what everybody thinks. And there's some people that still think it wasn't the right pick. So they're gonna sit there and try to pick that apart.
What if Justin Fields is tearing it up in Chicago? I hate
that Trey's gonna be like held up against
what that. If Mac Jones tears it up in New England. I mean, all these things.
I just like that part.
It's tough. It's a high stakes business. But look, here I'm going to try to lower the expectations for Trey Lance.
Okay.
I don't think his readiness it should be held against him. If he comes in day one tomorrow and looks bad, that's okay. You just turned 21. The expectation for Trey Lance is to improve dramatically from the beginning to the end. If he can make strides, that's okay. If it's looking like, hey man, he's not ready yet, but he's improving, then that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. There really is no rush to get him on the field. If he shows that he's more ready than people expect, hey, beautiful. That's not the expectation, but that's beautiful. But as long as he's improving, then they can work with him, and then you can feel that's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really my thing. It's just more, people taking one day of reports as, okay, here's the book on Trey Lance. Now he can't play. Like, come on. Like, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to start a precedent of now that's what you're going to start saying about Trey. And now Trey's got to work uphill against some narrative that's being built against him. Like, that's what gets me worried. And also the comparing of, oh my God, look at Justin Fields, what he's doing. Oh my God, look what Mac Jones is doing. Look what you could have had. Like, I hate that idea. Anybody who was going to be picked, though, was going to be held up against those other guys. So I should pull that back a little bit. But I think that's kind of my fear, I think I'll say.
Well, I just want to say one thing that going in his favor is that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the same field.
And he's not a practice player.
He's not a practice player. So people might want to focus on Trey Lance's struggles, but he's not going to be struggling as much as number 10.
Especially if he takes it with the number 2s. Like if he goes up against the backups, Trey Lance is going to tear it up. And that's not even like all right, yes, it's an opinion, but it's closer to fact than people want to believe.
Trey Lance, here's what's going to set Trey Lance apart from Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm already predicting it. He's going to have 1 or 2 wild plays a day that Jimmy never has. Jimmy's not a wild player, doesn't make wild throws. It's not in his skill set. He's more of like a golf guy where you give him a little golf clap every once in a while. Like, oh, that was a nice chip. That was a very nice. I appreciated that shot from Jimmy Garoppolo. That's kind of him. Lance is going to have wild plays, and they're going to broadcast them on social media, and fans are going to get excited. And then one more thing, the turnovers. Jimmy turns the ball over still, and Trey won't. He should.
So if I could take your golf analogy and use it and turn it into a movie. So what you're saying is Trey is Happy Gilmore, and Jimmy is the other golfer. I don't know if he's shooter. No, I can't say he's shooter.
He's not quite shooter. Lafferty Daniel. Daniel.
Right. Like he's the other guy feeling the bull, working it.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow. All right. Now we're talking about Jimmy. What are the expectations for Jimmy Garoppolo in OTAs?
Just to make it through, no injuries, anything like that. Get ready for week 1. Honestly, I mean, I don't think he's gonna get injured. I'm just saying, like, just get to week 1. You're probably gonna start week 1. Everybody should just prepare themselves for that. And that's it, man. Just get yourself ready. Just make sure that, there's no egregious days of like 5 straight interceptions, anything like that. And just, that's it, man. Just
I disagree with you here, man. I'm just gonna flat out disagree with you. I wanted to lower the expectations for Trey. I want to raise them way high for Jimmy.
What does he need to do?
Jimmy, you're almost 29 years old. They're gonna replace you with the dude who's played quarterback for like 2 years, man. They're gonna replace you with a dude who's younger than Vish Kumaran, man. They have no, and I'm not saying he's a baller, but dude, do you have any self-respect? This is your team. You've been in this offense for 4 years. You need to ball out, dude. We need to see your best offseason. But Kyle says you play best when you're angry, then be angry about it. Don't be like, well, whatever. Oh, well.
Again, I think what you talked about when you talk about the skill sets, it's just he is who he is, right? He's not going to all of a sudden start airing it down the field and just hitting those passes, right? Like, look.
He can stop turning it over.
Right, exactly. Don't turn the ball over.
He can complete 75% of his throws in practice.
Complete the wide open throws that are there that Kyle's going to, and just be. I don't want to hear anything about Jimmy Garoppolo. That's my expectation in the OTAs. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything that like he's terrible or he did this. I want to hear he's solid, straight across the board, straight up, just ready to go for week 1. That's it. I don't want to hear anything else than that. That's it.
Snacks keeps asking you if you're a paid actor.
Yep.
Is a paid actor like those guys in those like conspiracy theory things? Like when people said that Kobe thing didn't happen, they were saying like the people in the interview.
Well, like Q?
Actors. Yeah, pretty much. What conspiracy theory I don't get it, man. You guys, sometimes my comments make zero sense, but you guys.
No, that one actually makes sense because I was part of the QBQ collective, like when it came to Justin Fields, like the Q, like the straight up tinfoil hat, right? And everything, all that stuff. So I could see that, honestly.
All right. Well, the answer is no. Anyway.
No, well, I choose to take that as a compliment. So that just means that I have personality that's coming through. So I choose to take that as a compliment.
Right. So Jimmy, I don't know, man. I feel like if you don't show something, if you don't step your game up now, and look what Aaron Rodgers did. They drafted Jordan Love.
And he got mad.
I'm not saying
I was about to say,
he got mad and he freaking won the MVP. Or look at what happened when the Patriots drafted you. What did Tom Brady do? He ran your ass out of town in style. I'm sure you're still impressed. Why don't you do that? Why can't you do that, man? Do it. I would be so impressed.
Also, one more thing that he should be taking on is let alone, all right, cool. You're upset that they picked somebody to replace you. You're playing for your next team. You better have that chip on your shoulder because if you don't do anything this year, or if you get injured, or you place apart, your time as a starting quarterback. Yeah, your starting quarterback time in this league is over, and you'll be a career backup. You'll be a career backup. You need if you get angry and you play well, you're playing for your next team. It's obvious. That's not our conspiracy theory there.
You'll go back to New England as Mac Jones backup.
That's worst case scenario for Jimmy Garoppolo. Goodness gracious.
Where can I get Jason's hat? But also Ward and Tart are both almost 30 injury prone. We need a change.
So Tart's on a 1-year deal, no guaranteed money, anything like that. So that's fine. And Jimmy Ward the last 2 years has actually played very well. Aside from an injury that he got against Dallas, that concussion, which he was like knocked out cold on the field.
That was
I felt
scary.
Like that was. I mean, other than that, he's kind of changed the narrative around him. So Jimmy Ward's actually gotten more healthy with Tart. He's not really under it. So I understand that. And one more time, Prevail.com is where you can get this hat. Hopefully they have some that are in there. Prevail, send a check, man. Cut the check, bro. Like,
give him some free hats or something, man.
Something.
Your number one salesman right now. No question. Hell of a show, Jason. Thanks for coming on. We hit like 15 topics in about an hour and 3 minutes. We were really going at a good pace. That was good.
Yeah, great. You know what it is, man. I mean, I'm gonna like I said, man. I'm putting up 45 in a flu game next week, man. Like straight up. So
I don't want to put any pressure, but if you're down, I'm always down to have you because I
pencil me in. That's why you get an eraser or whatever.
But just know that I'm sympathetic. I definitely took a nap from 1 to 4. I was like,
we'll see. I'm
good. And I was like, oh.
I would just buy a ton of Pedialyte and Gatorade, and let's see what happens, man. Like I said, man, if Utah can poison Michael Jordan and he can make it and go ahead and play in the game, I think I'll be all right from a low COVID shot.
As we leave, if we win the Super Bowl with Jimmy, what happens next year?
Then trade. Then
I have to wear OnlyShans for a whole year.
All right. Well, That's a bet that I'm willing to take, but I don't think will happen.
That's the kind of problem you want. Honestly, if Jimmy Garoppolo wins the Super Bowl, I think you probably keep him, man. I don't know. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think you probably keep him.
You have to keep him because you don't trade quarterbacks right after they got done. And the only quarterback I think that was ever traded after that was like Trent Dilfer. That doesn't count. He's not a starter, right? But
or like Jeff Hostetler or something.
Right, that doesn't count. Here's the thing, though. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. You can say, hey, keep him, run it back, because they did win a Super Bowl, and that's not fair to get rid of somebody who obviously played well enough to get you to win a Super Bowl, and he was probably one of the main reasons, if not the main reason you did. Or you get Froggy and you trade him for a first-round pick, because then that's when people will start coming calling on Jimmy Garoppolo.
They have one asset in their quarterback room. It's Trey Lance.
Yep.
Garoppolo is not an asset. If he wins the Super Bowl, now you have two assets in your quarterback room, and you could trade either one. Maybe you really like Jimmy. Maybe you want to trade Trey Lance. Maybe you want to really like Trey Lance, and you want to trade Jimmy. Now you got options. You can see what either one's worth. That's a good place to be. That's a good problem. Yeah.
I mean, if they win a Super Bowl, then, honestly, man, like you said, it's a good problem to have, and I think 49er fans would be happy with that one way or another. So,
honestly, what they could do is that gives Trey Lance even more time to sit on the bench. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Please do not send any more donations because the show is ending now.
Now.
Peace.